Hi, I'm Claire, better known on Tumblr as Dreamer of Improbable Dreams, and I'm about to do my accent challenge video. So, I'm from England, specifically Northumberland. Let's see. Pronounce the following words: ant, roof, root, theatre. Oh, American spelling there. Iron, salmon, caramel, fire, water, New Orleans, pecan, both, again, probably, Alabama, lawyer, coupon, mayonnaise, pyjamas, court, naturally, aluminium, jiff, some people say gif I think, but I would definitely think that was jiff, Tumblr, crackerjack, doorknob, envelope, and GPOY, which I would imagine, I'd have thought everyone would say GPOY. I suppose some people might say GPOY. Let's see. What is it called when you throw toilet paper on a house? Some people would call that TPing, but the word that comes to mind for me is probably toilet papering. It's not really an English thing. I don't think we do that in England. You would normally just egg people, which is obviously throwing eggs on people's houses, so I would just call it toilet papering. What is bubbly carbonated drink called? I would say fizzy pop, or maybe fizzy drink. I would usually say fizzy pop, or just like the actual name of the drink, so I would call it Coke if it was Coke, or Pepsi if it was Pepsi, etc. What do you call gym shoes? That'd be trainers. What do you call your grandparents? My grandparents on my mum's side I would call Granny and Grandad, and my grandparents on my dad's side I would call Nana and Grandpa. What do you call the wheeled contraption in which you carry groceries at the supermarket? That's weirdly specific. A shopping trolley, or just a trolley. Normally just a trolley. What is the thing you change the TV channel with? That would be the TV remote, or the telly buttons, or the doofer. Some people in my family call it the doofer for some reason. I'm not quite sure why that is, but that's kind of caught on with me. I quite like it, doofer. But yeah, choose a book and read a passage from it. Now, I was going to read The Picture of Dorian Gray, because that's one of my favourite books, and I love Oscar Wilde, but I've lost that, so I'm not going to. So I'm going to read a book that I'm, rereading really at the minute, because I've read it twice before, and again one of my favourite books, which is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, because I thought, I don't know, it's quite an English-sounding sort of book. There's not really any sort of accent problems that are going to come up there, and just because it's good. So I was on chapter 17 before, so that's where we'll go from. Let's see. Richard followed the path between the burning candles, which led him through the Angel's Vault to the Great Hall. He recognised his surroundings. This was where they had drunk Islington's wine, an octagon of iron pillars supporting the stone roof above them. The huge black stone and metal door, the old wooden table, the candles. Door was chained up, spread-eagled between two pillars beneath the flint and silver door. She stared at him as he came in, her odd-coloured pixie eyes wide and scared. The Angel Islington, standing beside her, turned and smiled at Richard as he entered. This was the most chilling thing of all, the gentle compassion, the sweetness of that smile. "Come in, Richard Mayhew, come in," said the Angel Islington. "Dear me, you do look a mess." There was honest concern in his voice. Richard hesitated. "Please," the Angel gestured, curling a white forefinger, urging him further in. "I think we all know each other. You know the Lady Dore, of course, and my associates, Mr. Croup, Mr. Vandemar." Richard turned. Croup and Vandemar were standing each side of him. Mr. Vandemar smiled at him. Mr. Croup did not. "I was rather hoping you would show up," continued the Angel. It tipped its head to one side and asked, "By the by, where is Hunter?" "She's dead," said Richard. He heard Dore gasp. "Oh, poor dear," said Islington. It shook its head sadly, obviously regretting the senseless loss of human life, the frailty of all mortals, born to suffer and to die. "Still," said Mr. Croup cheerfully, "can't make an omelette without killing a few people." Richard ignored them as best he could. "Dore, are you all right?" "More or less, thanks, so far." Her lower lip was swollen, and there was a bruise on her cheek. "I'm afraid," said Islington, "that Miss Dore was providing a little intransigent. I was just discussing having Mr. Croup and Mr. Vandemar." It paused. There was obviously some things it found distasteful to actually say. "Torture her," said Mr. Vandemar helpfully. "We are," said Mr. Croup, "after all, famed across the entirety of creation for our skills in the excruciatory arts." "Good at hurting people," clarified Mr. Vandemar. The Angel continued, staring intently at Richard as it spoke, as if it had heard neither of them. "But then, Miss Dore does not strike me as someone who would easily change her mind." "Give us time enough," said Mr. Croup. "We'll break her." "Into little wet bits," said Mr. Vandemar. Islington shook its head and smiled indulgently at this display of enthusiasm. "No time," it said to Richard. "No time. However, she does strike me as someone who would indeed act to end the pain and suffering of a friend, a fellow mortal, Such as yourself, Richard. Mr. Croup hit Richard in the stomach, then a vicious rabbit punch to the gut, and Richard doubled up. He felt Mr. Vandermar's fingers on the back of his neck, pulling him back into a standing position. "But it's wrong," said Dor. Islington looked thoughtful. "Wrong?" it said, puzzled and amused. Mr. Croup pulled Richard's head closer to his and smiled his graveyard smile. "He's travelled so far beyond right and wrong he couldn't see them with a telescope on a nice clear night," he confided. "Now, Mr. Vandermar, if you'll do the honours." Mr. Vandermar took Richard's left hand in his. He took Richard's little finger between his huge fingers and bent it back until it broke. Richard cried out. The angel turned slowly. It seemed distracted by something. It blinked its pearl grey eyes. "There's someone else out there, Mr. Croup." There was a dark shimmer where Mr. Croup had been, and he was there no longer. So there we go, chapter from a book. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, there's only one or two left. Do you think you have an accent? I would say yes, just because I think everybody probably does, and I know that when I go down south, people comment on the fact that that I would say, you know, the eternal sort of north-south divide in accents in England, which would be whether you say glass, grass and bath, or glass, grass and bath, and also the fact that being from Northumberland, I tend to not say T's very much, so I would say water. No, I would I would say water instead of water. But yeah, I think everybody has at least some of an accent. Although I think I talk a little bit differently to everyone around here. I think I'm, I don't know, people always say I'm quite posh. I don't see it myself, but there you go. I don't know. But yeah, I would say I do have some sort of accent. And obviously I have like a British accent because, you know, I do. And if I went to America, people would comment on the fact I have a British accent. So yeah, I would say I do have an accent. Be a wizard or a vampire. Time Lord, obviously, or any type of alien. Actually, I like aliens, but yeah, I think Time Lord as opposed to wizard or vampire. Do you know anyone on Tumblr in real life? I do not, sadly. I would like to, but I'm afraid not. Is the short answer to that. Last one. End audio post by saying any 3 words you want. Yeah. Bye.